Right, so let's keep going. Let's work more on the color. So again, I have like dozens of references, and up until now, I was working more on the value and then the color. I was blocking some shapes. I was creating this kind of like a thumbnail um, of the whole painting, and right now, I'm just trying to figure out what reference, what color to use. So here is a great reference for a ship. Um, this is a reference for people walking around. And I will just, sampling some colors, trying to be as close as as possible to, to paint like on the reference, people to paint people like on the reference, um, especially with the higher pressure on the clothing, because I will not like give too much attention to the faces because it's covered by shadow, and as you can see even on the oil paintings, those shadows in this larger scenes are just the indication of detail. Just there are like eyes, nose, mustache, lips, just in the indication of the detail. It's not strictly like refining the faces. So it's a time to refine some edges, to work more on the shapes, so we have more visible objects like the umbrella. So I have to like create a reflection because it's wet. It's raining outside, and we kind of have this sort of reflection of the parts of the umbrella that will reflect the sky. And it's the objects like umbrella. It's really hard to figure it out by yourself, how to the reflection will work. So it's a good idea to have a reference for that. And I could have like downloaded more references in from the photo, like photo references of umbrellas. But I think it's enough to just to take a reference from the as a painting, traditional oil painting. It's just to have this structured locked, and then you can move forward with other objects. You can always make everything on a painting much simpler or much more complicated, much more complex. It's up to you, like to how you judge to finish those objects, those parts of the image. So I think that the most important, or maybe not most important, but really crucial in painting are edges. So you can have like the edges of this couple like really refined, really sharp, but the center of this layer can be more smudgy, more roughly done, and you will have this. Our perception will actually treat it as a more refined, more detailed than the the layer that is actually in the center, like really detailed, but have like really smooth and not refined edges, not sharp edges. So yeah, I'm working on on the shapes of those people, just without any specific um, attention to the anatomy. I'm just trying to capture the overall pose. And each object you can work on the focal point. So our focal point here is umbrella and the faces and the shoulders of those people. So it's really important to have these people's shoulders and faces much more refined when it comes to edges, to the indication of light, than the lower part. It might be obvious, but we tend to forget about it, and then we have like, which we try to figure out what's wrong in the painting, how we can fix that, and so on. And then another thing is that you can find a really structured, textured brush and paint it with smaller size and just with the brighter color, just to indicate the details, the reflections, edges, and things like that. So yeah, it's not something that I'm thinking about. Yeah, how the clothing is actually behaving on this particular character. It's just a indication of the detail. It's just kind of like a shortcut for eye to to kind of look at this object and judge if it's detail or not by looking at this kind of like sharp, small but dynamic strokes. So it's funny thing is that when you create a concept art, you actually focusing on the particular details in the clothing, because it's really, really important. But when you create an illustration, you have kind of like a lot of different details, a lot of different aspects that you have to think through the whole process. So the clothing is actually something that it might not be the most important thing, but when you look in illustration, the most important thing, in my opinion, is the mood, the lighting, the color situation, and basically, yeah, that's the most important thing, because this is something that we kind of like receive when we look at the painting at the very first glance. We can judge what's going on there, if what emotions we have looking at this painting. And the design is, it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit less important. So of course we have a lot of different painters and paintings that are really really precise about history, events, about clothing, about things like that. But when we create something for ourselves, like the personal project, the really great example is the, for example, of Game of Thrones or any other movie or TV series that is or book, basically fantasy book. It's based on some medieval designs, the medieval castles, medieval like armors, clothing, weapons, but it's not like really precise about history. It's just treated like more like an inspiration. So it's similar here. We can make something like something that looks believable, but it's not that we have to be really precise about the design or anything like that.